Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare इतना जहाँ से पीछे है तो मेरे जीवन में हम लोग यहाँ पे जैसे आप लोग ज्वाइन करें वहीं से कर लेते हैं आप भी डिस्प्ले कर सकते हैं नहीं आपका बोल Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Very nice. शविता जरा पानी दे तो कर थोड़ा सा पानी खा कहीं रखा था अच्छा
यहीं रखूं
यहीं रख दो, यहीं पर रखना पड़ेगा वो तो यहाँ पे फिसल।
हाँ वो थोड़ा सा ढक दो।
ज्वाइन करेंगे उस लैपटॉप से जूम ज्वाइन कर लो, सॉरी लैपटॉप से मैं वही वाला टाइमिंग।
जूम लिंक हाँ इस लैपटॉप से जूम
इसी से करना। लाओ मैं कर देती हूँ, लैपटॉप दे दो, मैं कर देती हूँ। एक मिनट करना शुरू करें, क्या करना है हम लोग तो आएंगे सुनो पारुल को बोला तो वो नहीं आ पाएगी, वो आरसी ही नहीं करी थी। अरे न्यू टैब क्यों नहीं खुल रहा?
क्या नहीं खुल रहा?
न्यू टैब नहीं खुल रहा है, टैब करने की कोशिश कर रहा
ओ यहाँ
हूँ। वो अच्छा जोर से मारना था, वो अच्छा ये एप्पल है क्या? विंडोज टच ही नहीं
नहीं
है।
एप्पल का लैपटॉप नहीं है टच और ड्राइव पे जाके क्लिक
अच्छा एप्पल का लैपटॉप नहीं होता क्या, टच स्क्रीन नहीं होता क्या?
मतलब मेरे पास तो जो भी है घर में
अच्छा वो
कोई
बाय
भी
चांस नहीं होगा, बाय चांस है मतलब एप्पल तो करता होगी। नहीं करा उसने, वापस आ गई। किसी का वेट करें क्या, किसी का तो शुरू कर देते क्योंकि लंबा चलता है, उसको खाने नहीं पाएंगे तो भी चलेगा, तब बाद में बात करते हैं खत्म रहेगा। नित्य लीला सुखावो रे सदाई दूरत्या मोरा कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yours. Now we know. Now we know it.
On right person, na?
Now, there you go. Now you can't miss it. शमिता हाई स्कूल क्या इसको देखो क्या हुआ ये टीवी बड़ी अच्छी टीवी है बड़ी अच्छी टीवी इग्नोर फील कर रहा है फेल्ट हाँ हाँ भी करना चाहिए सर छोड़ छोड़ा छोटा सा बहुत छोटा सा इसमें प्रोसेस अच्छा this laptop can focus on the audience afterwards ये देखते रहना कि ये यहाँ से गाने देखो लोग
नहीं नहीं वैसे चलता रहे
अच्छा अच्छा मूवमेंट तो ठीक है मूवमेंट होता रहेगा यहाँ से फैंटास्टिक पर इसका वॉल्यूम 0 रखना इसका वॉल्यूम 0 और स्पीकर 0 दोनों 0 रखो इसका थैंक यू you can move it around whatever you can capture the audience you make it on right so that your mom can sense of मेरे को फोन मिलेगा क्या हाँ very nice.
I think everybody knows Shraddha Mataji, but there are a few people who doesn't, they are new. So we would like to introduce Shraddha Mataji, and I will do that.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Mataji Shraddha-devi Dasi is a disciple of His Grace Vaisheshika Maharaj. And she's been practicing Krishna consciousness for the last 15 years. She Foster City with her husband Rakesh Rajput, who wholeheartedly supports her in her spiritual pursuits. She's an engineer by profession and has worked in companies like Oracle and LinkedIn. It was a book, the Bhagavad-gita, that transformed her life, which is the reason she spends time preaching the Vedic wisdom in the Bay Area. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for joining us here in Fremont, as well as those who are joining us here on Zoom. Thank you so much. We will get started with this brief prayer to the spiritual master. Just wanted to also let you know that this is being broadcast on the internet, so just an open declaration here. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagarana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagara Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we will continue on with the series that we have started of reading from the Srimad Bhagavad-gita. And how many chapters have we finished so far? We're just doing the first. You're doing the first? What did we do last time in Kathy's home?
First chapter reading the Sanskrit and
First chapter reading the Sanskrit. And how much of the Sanskrit did we read?
we read everything.
We read everything. Yes, chapter 1 is done actually.
No, but verses did we finish all of
Yeah.
them individually?
Yeah. We did all that. Okay. So let's get started then. We're going to do chapter number 2 today. And it's a very big chapter. How many verses does it have? 72, exactly. 500 points. Okay. So before we go into that, I'll first start with the acknowledgements. First and foremost to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. And who doesn't know Srila Prabhupada? Everybody knows him. Founder Acharya of ISKCON, and who, more importantly to me, translated the Indian scriptures into the Vedic scriptures into English language. And because of that translation, I was able to read and get that knowledge from there. I would also like to thank my spiritual master, His Grace Vaishka Prabhu, who has been grooming me for the last so many years. And then also to the various ISKCON acharyas from whom I have been learning the Shastras. To my dear husband, Rakesh Rajput Prabhu, who has been supporting me for many, many years and tolerating me as well, and for driving me around to all these Krishna Katha sessions I do. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. To our hosts, Mahesh Prabhu and Shravita Mataji. We have been trying to have this session in this place for quite some time. And I'm just thinking, what a wonderful arrangement Krishna made that today is Ekadashi and we are having this session here. So it's beautiful. And the first thing that I have come to this house for the first time also. So, and the first thing that I came and as I'm sitting over here, that this is a place very conducive for Krishna Katha. Very, very conducive, the way the house is arranged and the way the room is. Fantastic. Good choice, Prabhu. And then, of course, last but not the least, all the participants are very thankful to you, those here, and of course, those who are watching us on Zoom. Without you, the Katha doesn't happen, right? And the Krishna Katha, when it is spoken, benefits the speaker the most, that purifies the speaker. And then, of course, it impacts the listeners, and then also impacts everybody in between too. So who are those who are in between the speaker and the participant? Who is it? Any Sam speaking and you're listening? Who else is there? Huh?
The gadgets.
Oh, yeah, they're part yeah, all the pranis, so visible and invisible, all of them are here. Right. So Gita, chapter number 2 is known as, goes by the name Contents of Gita Summarized. That's what Prabhupada has called it. And it also goes by another name, usually. What is that name? If you look at if you remember the colophon, Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad, you will know. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yog Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yoga Didivadhyaya, right? Sankhya Yoga. So this chapter will talk about that, right? And Sankhya basically means, to go about it in an empirical manner. Just as we learned empiric formulas, right? And molecular formulas in chemistry. So empirical is basically telling you, like, for example, sodium or salt is sodium chloride, right? So it is made up of sodium and chlorine. So that's the empirical formula. But then, we know that one atom of sodium and two atoms of chlorine. So that's the molecular formula, NaCl2 or whatever, if I remember my chemistry correctly. I hope all of you have forgotten your chemistry. NaCl, yeah. So one atom and one atom combined, right? And water is H2O, so two atoms of hydrogen. So that's the molecular formula. And the empirical for water will be just H and O, like that. So this chapter also talks about the empirical formula for this world in which we are living, right? So what we will do is, it's a long one, long chapter, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of discussion points here. So I'm going to read the Sanskrit, and why don't we all read together? Because it's a really long chapter, right? Otherwise, I'll be coming between you and Prasadam. And so that's one of the disadvantage of this room, is that the speaker is constantly looking at the wonderful Prasadam. So the attention gets diverted. Yeah, it's good for you guys. You're back towards the Prasadam. Okay, so let's go through. Sanjay Uvacha. So what does first chapter start with? Who watches? In first chapter, Dhritarashtra, right? So Dhritarashtra said, Sanjay Uvacha, right? Sanjay Uvacha tam tatha kripiyavistam ashtrupurnakulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha Shri Bhagavan uvacha Kutasva kashmalamidam vishame sam upastitam anaryajustam aswargayam akirti karamarjuna klebhyam asma gamaha partha netattvai upapadyate shudram hridaya darpalyam tyakto tishta parantapa Arjuna Vacha Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhye Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami Pujahar Arisudana Guru Nahatva hi Mahanubhavan Shreyo Bhoktum Bhakshamapi Haloke Hatvartha Kamanstu Guru Nihaiva Bhunji Abhogan Rudira Pradigdan Nachetad Vidma Katarana Gariyo Yadva Jayema Yadivana Jayeyuhu Yani Vahatva Najijivishamas Devastitaha Pramukhe Dhartarashtraha Karpanyadoshoपहता स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेतः यच्छ्रेयस्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणम् इन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमां सप्नं वृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् Sanjay Uvacha एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तपः नायोत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन् इव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तम् इदं वचः श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यान् अनवशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासून् च नानुशोचन्ति पंडितः न त्वएवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपः न चैवा न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयम् अतः परम् देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति मात्रस्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुखदुःखदः आगामापायिनो नित्यस्तां तितिक्षस्व भारत यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषऋषभ समदुःख सुखं धीरं स्तोमृतत्वाय कल्पते न सतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तस्त्वयनो तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशी तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वम् इदं ततं विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुम् अर्हति अन्तमन्त इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्तः शरीरिणः अनासीनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत य एनं वेत्ति दान्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो यते हन्यमाने शरीरे वेदाविनाशिनं नित्यं य एनम् अजमव्ययम् कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ कं घातयति हन्तिकम् वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्य अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि नैनं छिन्नन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेद्यन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः अच्छेद्योऽयम् अदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः अव्यक्तोऽयम् अचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मात् एवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि अथा चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्मामृतस्य च तस्मात् अपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तानिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनाम् आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवश्चैनमन्या शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यम् अवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि स्वधर्मम् अपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुम् अर्हसि धर्म्याधियुद्धाश्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारम् अपावृतम् सुखिनः क्षत्रियः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धम् ईदृशम् त्वम् इमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि तथा स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापम् अवाप्स्यसि अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययम् स्वभावस्य च कीर्तिः मरणात् अतिदृच्यते भयाद्रणात् उपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथः येषां च त्वं महाबहुमतो भूत्वा यस्यासि लाघवम् अवाच्यवादंश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहितः निन्दन्तस्तव समर्थं ततो दुःखातरं नु किम् हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मात् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः सुखदुःखे समाकृत्वा लाभलाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि एषा ते विहिता साङ्ख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्वमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहस्यसि नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पम् अप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात् व्यवयास्यात्मिका बुद्धिरेकेहा कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिना Oh, hold on. No, I think this is this is a mistake there. I'll just recite it here. Hold on for a second. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipashchitaha vedavada rataha partha nanyad asti tivadinaha कामात्मनः स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रिया विशेष बहुलां भोगेश्वर्य गतिर्पति sorry
काशी मेरी क्लास चल रही है, बंद करते हैं। Mataji, sorry to interrupt. I can't hear you.
Okay. Okay, I went on mute for some reason.
जी, जी.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Sorry about that. Now this is not going back. Okay. Esha Brahmi Sitha Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitvasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Pritchati. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad-gitasu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjun Vishad wrong. What is it? Sankhya Yoga Nama. Yeah, Dityo Adhyaya Hari Om. So I'm going to quickly switch to Veda base. Yeah, because this has still got affinity towards chapter 1. Let's see. See why is it behaving like that? Can be closed.
ट्रांसलेशन करना है क्या?
हाँ थोड़ा आधे करूंगी बस.
तो ऐसे ही अपनी हाँ इसी मोड में आपको बोलूँ.
हाँ इसी बस. Can you read it or do you make it a little bigger? Read too. Oh, ooh, okay. This is good or should I make it? ठीक है? अच्छा. All right, so we will go up to maybe 72 verses are there, right? Maybe 30, 30, huh? Okay, let's see. Or maybe, let's see. How long can we go? It's 7 o'clock. I was asking how long can we go? It's 7 o'clock right now. Hostess has to tell us. नौ बजे तक चल.
I don't know. I think 7:30 तक हो जाती है.
7:30
translation. Yeah.
Okay. So 30 करना है? All right, let's get going. Sanjay said, all together. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusuna Krishna spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle? Men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. O descendant of Bharata, at that time, Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief stricken Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any one of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, and soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Shayan of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both go for liberation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can neither burn nor dry. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty heart. One who is taking his birth is sure to die, and after birth, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in their manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again, one annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation? Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. We'll stop here. Stop here, right? 30 verses. 30 verses only today. We will continue on in whose house are we going? Next week, August 8th. Where are we going? It's August 8th, somebody, our god sister. Huh? August 8th, mein, hai na? We'll continue. Next lecture is on August 8th. Okay. अच्छा केतकी केतकी
ओके yes. केतकी माताजी.
कहाँ है केतकी
केतकी फ्रीमॉन्ट में ही आज आई है.
कहाँ है पूछे उसको कहाँ
सब ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं.
चैप्टर को मिस कर रही है अच्छा चैप्टर चूज का मिस हो रहा है okay anyway yeah all right so what we'll do is now we'll go over the 30 verses but before we go into the 30 verses and I'll give an overview of some of the verses key verses I just wanted to ask you that we went through so many verses and as we go through chapter 2 of the Bhagavad-gita I always feel good that that there are so many beautiful verses there right it's a big box of good verses beautiful verses there and so any words stuck your mind as you were reading? Oh, yeah, there's a microphone to pass along. Yeah, yeah. The feedback that came from last session was that if the audience is speaking slow, those who are listening to the recording, they can't hear what the audience is saying, and they miss out because your feedback is valuable as well, right? So just make sure you get the microphone, or if not, then I'll repeat your question for those who are in the. Yeah. Okay.
माइक्रोफोन माता जी यहीं तक पहुंचेगा.
बस ठीक है.
Speaker has to come first.
हाँ तो स्पीकर आ जाए या फिर वहीं से बोले तो या तो आप रिपीट कर देना रिपीट कर देंगे
So Mataji, the words
ऑन है कि नहीं ऑन अब है भाई
Hey, Krishna Mataji.
yeah.
So the verse was, I think it's 2.46 or 47.
Hmm.
Karma nevadikaraste ma parishita dhanjana ma
Hmm.
karmani. And it stuck to me because that was the first verse
Hmm.
of Bhagavad-gita which I ever memorized.
All of it.
I think I was like in 4th or 5th grade writing an essay on karma. All right. So that's why
That stuck your mind.
whenever it comes, I mean, it's just I just know it.
We have to.
So yeah so everybody has that same thing nice right so as a karma nevati karaste I'm just going to bring it up yeah karma it's a very powerful verse, right? 47, right? Yeah. So 2.47, Karma Nidhya Vikarasa. And let's look at that. It's a very good citation that you're making. So you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. Isn't it amazing? Never be attached to not doing your duty. You can get attached to not doing your duty, right? Who got attached to not doing the duty? Arjun, correct, yeah. Right? Because and then he gave so many good examples and reasoning behind why he should not be doing his duty. Good. Any other words that struck your mind? Microphone or forward or I'll repeat the question.
I forgot the exact line.
संगात संजायते कामात कामात क्रोधं विजायते क्रोधात भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रम बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. I think that describes like how our mind works, right? Like the material nature, one after the other. And Krishna shows over here how to break that. So first step is recognizing. And I think I'm stuck in recognizing.
Right, yeah, right. Recognizing is the first the first thing. Diagnosis is the first part before you can then do the medication. There, yeah. Good. Any other words? Anything from what we read in English? Anything was stuck in your mind?
Like Priyanka said, her first verse. Yeah, like Premanishta, she said it. Her first verse was Karmanyadhikariste. So that reminded me that there's one verse, right? Vashamsi Chirnani, like I don't know the word fully, but that verse was in my son I had Sanskrit, I think, from 5th to 8th, and I had taken because you can score a lot there. So this verse was one of the verses which we had learned at that time.
Nice.
And it has a very relevant meaning, which is, everyone should know. And so,
Yeah.
But if you can go to the 27th translation, the verse 27 translation.
27? Okay.
Translation.
इसका पहले मतलब आप दिखा दो ना.
Oh, yeah.
पासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपणानि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्य अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. As a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material body, giving up the old and useless ones. Yeah, the soul gives up, right? But the mind doesn't think it's old and useless, does it? Right? Yeah. Okay, and then
Is it 27?
27, right?
translation.
27 translation. Okay, let's look at 27 translation. What a guarantee. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
Well, so after death, one is sure to take birth again. That is kind of a little bit contradictory, like what we're practicing. Right?
Good point.
After everything, okay.
This is disappointing. Well, so there are two types of birth that they are talking about, right? One is that you're born here in this material world, and the second is you're born in the spiritual world. That way, it's you're born again. Yeah, yeah. Don't be disappointed. All the hard work that you're doing, that will definitely be paid. That shall definitely be paid, right? Either you're born here or you're born there. And that birth, actually, then that is also contradictory, right? Where it says the soul is never born. Then what is it that and first you said I'm the soul, I'm not the body, and now you're saying that you will be born over there. So, but I'm the soul, so who's born, right? It can be confusing. But this second birth that I'm talking about, when you're born in the spiritual world, we are talking about that your spiritual body gets manifested, right? We don't know what the spiritual body is. I could be a stone in the spiritual world. I could be a peacock. I could be a gopi, like that. So that revelation is considered to be like a birth in the spiritual world. Yeah. But good observation, and we should be reading Bhagavad-gita scrutinizingly. So good work, there. Any other thing?
59 and 61.
59
61.
and 61 together. 59 is very famous verse. No, 59 is, no. What is 59? Vishaya vinivartante niharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Okay, so what does it say? Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains. But seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So this is very interesting, right? Like on the day we are supposed to fast, then we always think about what we're going to cook for when we break the fast. That is an example of, the taste for the sense object still remains. So you will, and as long as, somebody is forcefully telling you, like mother said that you have to keep a fast. I remember when I was young, Janmashtami was the only fast that we used to keep in our home, Janmashtami and Shivratri. And I was, I never used to keep fast. And so when my mom used to go around asking our siblings that, are you going to keep a fast? Are you going to keep a fast tomorrow? And then my question to her was like, will you make kotu chila? If you're going to make kotu chila, then I'm going to fast. If you're not going to make it, I'm not going to fast, right? But because the taste for sense object is still remaining. Right? So yeah, but then when you experience a higher taste, and it is so amazing that that I was 12 when I first kept the Janmashtami Vrat, and then afterwards, I was keeping it regularly. Then I got married, I had a child, and it was difficult, so I left all that. And for many, many years, I did not keep any fast at all. And if at all I had to keep, I would be constantly thinking about food. But the first time when during my fast, I did not think about food was when I joined ISKCON, and the very first Gaura Purnima that I attended. And because for me, the kind of fast that I used to keep when I was in India and even sometimes here was that you're just fasting. And like, I'm not going to eat, you're doing your regular duties, whatever you're supposed to do. And then, of course, cooking for those who are not fasting. So, but when I came to ISKCON, the whole day they were reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I remember my spiritual master was reading in a nice, beautiful way, and Chaitanya Charitamrita songs are so beautiful. And and so it was evening, and I was like, oh my goodness, for once I didn't think about wanting to eat. Right. So then that is then developing a higher taste. It was momentarily because I came back to my sense objects again. But this is a very powerful verse, which basically says that, just by trying to forcefully, give up these material attachments, it will not happen. You have to find something better. Right? If I go and tell you that, don't eat tur ki dal, then you'll think about tur ki dal. You'll say, okay, Shraddha Mataji said, don't eat tur ki dal, but then I love tur ki dal, tur ki dal, tur ki dal. Then you'll be thinking about tur ki dal will come in your dreams, right? Like that. But when you taste sambar, you're like, okay, I can give that up, right? Like that. So you have to develop a higher taste, and the best taste is the taste of Krishna consciousness. The best taste is the taste of the holy name that can dance of your mouth. And then what was the other verse?
61.
61. Nice. Thank you, Asha Mother Prabhu. 61. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasindriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. So Arjun is asking that question, that who is a prajna, right? How does he sit? How does he talk? How does he walk? So it's very important that, if you're trying to say that we are Krishna conscious people, then it should be reflected in everything that we do, and not just that I chant my rounds and then when I speak to people, I'm a nonsense person. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. Okay? So how do we restrain our senses? They're like horses, right? How can you restrain your senses? They go all over the place. The eyes are all over the place. Nose is sniffing around everything possible. Engage in what are some higher tastes for the senses? Tell me. So Krishna consciousness is the answer. But let's look at the senses one by one, because these are our enemies, right? Let us see how we can kill these enemies one by one. Okay, so if eyes, where do the eyes go? Mostly?
On YouTube.
On YouTube. Where on YouTube? Right? So now if your eyes go to YouTube, it's okay if they go to YouTube, but then now we have to give them something on YouTube, a better engagement on YouTube. So what are some things that you can watch on YouTube? You can watch the ISKCON Silicon Valley program. There's so many people, there are so many bhaktas, they're giving discourses on YouTube. It's full of it, right? Srila Prabhupada, to name it. It's all full of that. So you can make that conscious decision. Otherwise, it's very difficult. If you just search on YouTube, it's not that it ends just on YouTube. I remember I was looking for some, I was trying to buy something, and this was like 10 years ago. I was trying to buy something on internet and I was looking for it, and I don't remember what it was, but let's say it was a mouse. And so then later on in the evening, I was reading Bhagavad-gita online, and suddenly a message popped up on the side like, hey, your item has gone, the price has gone down on the item. So they track you, right? And so the Maya is constantly there. Internet is a big Maya. If you go to certain places on internet. And that's why we always tend to broadcast everything that we are speaking over here. I tend to broadcast that into internet so that some Atma who's, surfing the net might stumble on it and get some Krishna Katha there, right? So yeah, one who has to say, this is known as a man of steady intelligence. Your mind will be steady. Otherwise, your intelligence will be steady. Otherwise, your intelligence could be constantly, taking impetus from. So from where does the intelligence take the inputs? Who feeds the intelligence? Mind, exactly, right? And the mind is fed by? From the senses, right? So we have to, so now let us see how we restrain our senses. So we said eyes, okay? What's next sense? Ear, okay. Ear is the next answer. So how can we make sure that the ears go in the right direction? How do we develop a better taste for ears? Shravanam, hearing Krishna Katha, very good. Yes, and then sometimes if Krishna Katha sounds very boring, what else can you hear? Kirtan, right? Okay, good. So that took care of two. Name a third sense? Nose, okay, good. Nose, where does the nose go?
Masala.
Masala. Masala, right. So what will you do? Prasadam with nose?
Maybe
Yeah, prasadam.
Incense, flower.
Flower offered to Krishna. Anything offered to Krishna is also prasadam. So you were right in some ways. But being specific that, flowers that are offered or incense that is offered to Krishna. So we offer nice things to Krishna and then we partake of that, honor that. Okay. And what else is left? Tongue. Most. Yeah, okay. So how can you control the tongue?
Chanting and prasadam.
Chanting and prasadam. Yeah, because chanting and prasadam is the answer. And so tongue does dual purpose thing, right? Buy one, get one free. Krishna gave you two. Okay, and what's the last one? Touch. So what's the deal with touch?
deity worship.
Deity worship. But what do we do with touch otherwise?
Hold on to comfortable things.
We hold on to comfortable things, right? Have you ever noticed that when we see a small child, we start, touching the cheek, right? Who enjoys that? Does the child enjoy it? I mean, we could have just come up from washing dishes, our fingers could be very coarse, and we are doing it to a smooth little child's, face, and like that. Yeah. I remember once I was at my in-laws' place. My mother-in-law had she had some eczema kind of a thing on her, and it was itching very badly, and she was itching, and then she said, and the itching would give her relief, and she was saying, "Jo maja khaj mein hai, wo raj mein kaha." Like, Raj is like ruling, like you could be a king, but then if you have the itch, what do you do? Like that, yeah. So that is what is okay. Any other words that stuck your thing? Thank you so much.
How do we engage touch?
How do we engage the sense of touch? Tell me. How do we engage the sense of touch? Good question.
Touching the lotus feet of the Guru.
Well, in this con, we don't touch the lotus feet, but you can touch,
Yeah.
you can touch the bodies of other devotees appropriately. And then also you can touch the deity also. Right? Touch the deities, yeah. Yeah. Good. Any other words?
56.
56 coming up. Okay, people have their favorites. Look at that. That's the toughest one? Let's see. I thought toughest was 14. I'll bring up, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha, sukheshu vigatasprihaha, vitaraga bhaya krodha. Yes, this is deadly. Sitadhir muneruchyate. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. Very difficult. But let's look at this. Let's break it down. Arna needed. Display gone.
TV बहुत ज्यादा
One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries? Rajas, tamas? Adhyatmika, Adidevik, Adibhautik. Okay, let's take examples of each one of them. So give me first one. Let's take Adibhautik. Machar. Okay. Okay, so Machar is the only one that gives you grief. Is it? Huh?
That's an example.
That's an example. No, I'm asking others. Is Machar? I'm looking for answers. I'm enticing you actually. Huh? Speak. Huh? Adi Bhautik, yes, sorry, yeah. Adi Bhautik means the kind of miseries that you get from other living entities. So now it's your your horizon is widened. From mosquitoes, now you can tell all that give you grief.
Even boss, like somebody boss.
boss.
Boss gives you grief, huh? Tejas, you're smiling. Okay, only boss and mosquitoes? And boss is a mosquito? In some cases.
Your spouse.
Huh? Spouse. Yeah. Yeah, Adi Bhautik, right? Adi Daivik. Adi Daivik is the grief that you get from demigods. right? Why do you get grief from demigods? Because the demigods are the ones who manage things that are happening, right? And I remember this is a romantic couplet, but I'm just Krishnizing it. I learned it when I was young. I read it, not learned it. Read it, and it said, "Apke sawan badi ajeeb baat hui." So in this autumn, something very strange happened. So autumn is the season, or monsoon. Monsoon is the season when it rains in India, right? So "Apke sawan badi ajeeb baat hui, mera ghar chhod sabke ghar barsat hui." Right? So this is Adi Devik. And it happens actually. The tornado comes, and I remember Rakesh's sister has got some, they have fields and orchards in Merced. And she says that when the tornado comes there, it will demolish one person's fields and then leave other person's field completely intact. That is um, Adi Daivik. It comes from Daivi, which is not this Daivi, she's so sweet, but Daivi, from the gods, right? And then the most difficult, and the first one is Adhyatmik. What is Adhyatmik, Kalesh, that you get from? Your mind. Okay, can you give us some example of Kalesh, famous that came from the mind?
Ego, desires.
Ego, okay, we have ego, we have desire.
What about disease also? Body is
That is, yeah. But we are,
Mental
mind.
disease.
Yeah, we are starting with mind. It'll come from the anger, yeah. But give me some example of somebody who got very disturbed from the mind. The mind controlled them completely. Ajamila, right? Yes, Ajamila. So what happened there in Ajamila's case? Which sense betrayed him? Eyes betrayed him, right? Okay. Yeah, and
Maybe
then
not everybody knows the story. If you could
does
tell
everybody
us.
know the story of Ajamila? Some don't know? Okay, good. This is story time then. Well, so Ajamila was actually a very good Brahmana, and he came from a good family. He was married, and he had wives also. He had a wife who was also from a very good Brahmin family. So very nice wife, very good family. And then he used to participate in devotional service. And one day he went to the forest to get some firewood for performing the yajna. So the story is from that age where yajnas were performed and daily. And so over there, his eyes fell upon a prostitute and a Shudra man. And so they were enjoying themselves. And instead of pulling away his senses from there, the senses are there. Some senses are like cell phone, how the cell phone is always looking for. What does the cell phone always look for? Signal, right? Similarly, our senses are always looking for something to get attached to. And what do they get attached to? Every sense has a sense object. So the eyes will get attached to a form. The eyes will not get attached to a smell, right? So if you can't smell anything, but you start looking at a halwa, you won't know whether it is kesar halwa or what halwa, right? Like that. So the eyes wandered, and instead of pulling the senses back, he kept looking there, right? Instead of coming back home, he stayed there, okay? And when he came back, then what happened? So that form had been etched in his mind, and then the mind started bringing it back again and again to the forefront and reminded him of how beautiful that prostitute was. So he goes back again in search of that prostitute, brings the prostitute home, and obviously the wife leaves and goes to her Maika. Right? So he lives with a prostitute. By that time, he was not a young man. He was a pretty, aged person. And then he had 10 children with that prostitute. And now the prostitutes are very wealthy and they're accustomed to a particular style of living. And so that requires money. And Brahmins don't have money because what did the Brahmins do? Yajan, Patan, right? That's all they do, right? So they're not in business like the Vaishyas, right? They might have money. So how do you get money? Then he started killing people. So he'd go to the forest, any traveler is going to the forest, kill him, take all the goods that he has, sell the goods and bring stuff for his wife. Like that. So he started doing all that. The only good thing that he did was that his last child, when the last child was born, he was a son, he gave him the name Narayan. And Narayan being the last child, the father was very attached to the child. And he would eat, when he was eating, he would eat with the child. When the child was playing, he was play with the child. He was very, very attached to that child, right? And then, of course, he kept on living this life of sin till one day Yamraj said to his Yamdutas and said, okay, go get and fetch that sinner. So he's sleeping in the night and or his whatever time of the day it was, I don't remember. But then he suddenly sees two very ferocious looking and ugly and ferocious people, beings there, and they are trying to pull him, tie him with a rope and pull him. So he gets very scared and then he calls out to his son and he says, Narayan, Narayan. Now, antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevanam. So at the time of death, if somebody calls out to the name of the Lord, then the Lord says that, he will come back to the Lord. So how do you come back to the Lord? The Yamdutas are not going to take you. So these two ferocious beings were Yamdutas who had come to take the soul to Yamraj for suitable punishment. And so when he's saying Narayan, Narayan, the Yamdutas, Vishnu Dutas, who are the counterparts, right? The Yamraj Dutas, or the servants of Yamraj are Yam Dutas, and servants of Vishnu are Vishnu Dutas. So when we all are going to leave the body, the Vishnu Dutas are going to come. The Yam Dutas are not going to come because we chant Hare Krishna, right? So, so when he says Narayan, Narayan, then the Vishnu Dutas come. And they say that, hey, you cannot take him away, he is ours. And then the then the Yamduta says, no way, he's such a, man who led such a sinful life. And then our boss, and they thought their boss was Yamraj, and they thought that Yamraj is the all in all. There's nobody higher than Yamraj. That's what their limited vision was. And then there's a very nice, in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a very nice, talking about cantos, on driving up to your place, I noticed that one street away is called Canto. So I named this Canto 2. This was Canto 1. This Kevlo is Canto 2. Yeah, so there in 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a very nice chapter dedicated to the conversations that happen between Yamdutas and the Vishnu Dutas, and Vishnu Dutas don't allow him to take Ajamil away with them. So the Yamdutas go back to Yamraj. They're completely confused, and then they go and ask, and then Yamraj gives them some more katha. Then they understand that there is Vishnu who's on top of, and then anything that Vishnu says is actually the right dharma and not anything that Yamraj has said. So that was Ajamila story and how his mind was completely boggled. How about Kekai? Right? Kekai's mind was also disturbed. Bilva Mangala Thakur is another case of, how the mind was so boggled. He was also attached to another prostitute. So I noticed that prostitutes have a very, very prominent place in Yamdas. Yeah, because some of them, fine, you enjoy them, but then some of them will say something so, kataksh, like that, so piercing that his girlfriend, as Vaishnavi Prabhu tends to call her, and not prostitute, said something like that, that how much love that you have for me, if you had the same love for Krishna. So that was, that opens his eyes. Like Tulsidas also.
Same thing. But his wife said.
Yeah, wife said, yeah. So, but both of them did the same thing. They ran away when they're not supposed to be running. I mean, Bilva Malmal was, at that time, was the worst of the worst. I mean, ultimately, he wrote such beautiful, Krishna Karnamrita. Yeah, he climbed up the snake. Yeah. Tulsidas also did the same thing. So tell the story. Okay, yeah. So, Tulsidas was very attached to his wife, and so once the wife, as was the custom, went to her parents' place, and so he could not bear the separation with the wife, and so he went to meet her. And but she was across the river, and he had a sudden urge in the night to go and meet her. And so there was no boat. The boatman had gone to sleep, right? It's not like us here in Silicon Valley. We work all the time. Those days, sundown means now stop doing every work, go everybody have food and go under the banyan tree. And then you have a Krishna Katha. That was the way the love life was done, right? So he goes, says there's no boatman, but then he's like, no, I want to, and it is Amavasya type of a night, cloud is there, and I want to meet her. So he sees a log, and so he says, okay, like I'll climb on the log, and the log is going to carry me across. Now it was not a log, it was a dead body. So he goes about that. So much, the mind is like that. So much the mind was focused on the wife that doesn't even distinguish between this. And that's why Prabhupada says that our senses can be disillusioned, right? Can be illusion. So this is illusion, that it's a dead body and you're thinking it's a log because the mind is looking for a log. So whatever you're looking for, you will see, right? So he goes there and then goes to his wife. And the wife is, it's a double-story house. The wife lives on the top. He knows that. And so he now tries to climb over to the balcony. And then he sees that there's a rope. He's like, oh, my wife is very intelligent. She's also missing me. She's already put a rope there so that I can climb and come up. So he climbs that rope and he comes up. And then he goes and enters his wife's room, and the wife is completely surprised. He says, what are you doing here? And where did you come from? Backdoor entry. So he said, well, didn't you hung a rope for me there. And she said, no, I did not. He said, of course you did. Let's go outside and see. And then they go outside and see that there is a snake there, cobra, hanging there. So, and then the wife gives that the feedback and makes the comment that, this love that you have for me, if you just had that kind of a love for Krishna. And that was a big jolt for him. And then, the rest is the story. Something similar happened to Bilva Mangal Thakur also. In this case, it was not the wife, it was his girlfriend. And in his case, my battery is running low and I do not know. Can somebody check out this one? No, it's connected maybe somewhere. Yeah. Power or something. Yeah. Maybe it never had power and now it wants to die. Power had? Yeah. Sure. Maybe let me try another port. Let me see. Yeah. So, yeah, because the people are watching on the internet, also, on the Zoom also. They will not connected. Yeah, muted. अपना दे दो, अपना ये है, अपना दे दो, yeah. So it's just saying it's running low, yeah. So, in that case, in his case, what had happened was his father had died, and the father had died, and he had just cremated the father, and then and the wife was he wanted to go and meet this prostitute. And he had a wife at home, right? A very nice wife. And he goes to meet the prostitute. Same thing happens, same dead body, same snake and all that. And the prostitute says that. Now, in the case of Bilva Mangal Thakur, the case was, it gets a little bit more interesting because he leaves the family and then he goes, I think, to Vrindavan or Haridwar, some place where he goes, and then takes to devotional service. And then he comes to Vrindavan, yeah. He finally comes to Vrindavan and he meets, in Vrindavan, he meets a very nice devotee in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, the devotee brings him home, and he says that, the wife is at home and he tells his wife to take care of this Atithi who has come. And the wife he had a very beautiful wife. And the wife, serves him very nicely, food, they make a nice room arrangement for them. And then Bilva Mangal Thakura at that time, gets attracted to the wife. And then he goes and tells the husband that, I am attracted to your wife and I want to enjoy her. And in those days, the principle was Atithi Devo Bhava. So your Atithi or the guest is like a Devta and is like God. Okay, something is wrong here with my ports. Both the ports are gone. Time for a new laptop. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So those watching us on Zoom, we might, face a power outage soon. Just letting you know. So then he goes, and so he says, Atiti Devo Bhava. And so he says, okay, if you want to enjoy my wife, then please have her. So she goes and says to ask the wife to go to his room. And then at that point, I think Krishna inspires him or whatever happens, senses come to him. And then what he says is that he takes the pin out, a Jura pin from the wife's thing, and he pierces his eyes. And he says, it is these eyes that are the culprit. So please don't try that at home. And he pierces his eyes, says the eyes are the culprit. Like that. And so, yes, senses can be that bad. Senses can be that bad that and we will see in subsequent chapters that they will take away the mind. They will take away the senses are so bad that they will take away the mind of a person who's trying to control them. So it happens over and over again. Yeah.
Must be the song that very famous song that the song. I was just trying to recall. It's a very sweet song that we know.
Yeah, yeah.
Krishna.
It's from Krishna Karnamrita, right? Yeah. You know. Any other verse?
The one with anger. I don't remember.
The one. All right. This is better. And before my cell phone goes. Cell phone का भी power जा सकता है. Okay. Okay. Things be lamb street. Will I be allowed to speak though? Neeral Prabhu, can you hear me on that? Can you hear me? Me? Not from the phone. अच्छा. हाँ वैसे ये अच्छा रहेगा क्योंकि इसमें आप वेदा बेस भी दिखा सकते हैं. आ रही हूँ ना मैम? आ रही हूँ मैं. हाँ. अब ब्रॉडकास्ट होगा नहीं होगा पता नहीं. Hare Krishna Jyoti Mataji, can you hear me? Can you unmute and tell me? Can you hear? You can. Oh, you can hear you. Okay, fine, fantastic. All right, so let's go. Let's continue.
I can hear you, Mataji, but there is
All
something
right.
problem in the screen.
Yeah, screen I won't be able to share, Mataji. Yeah, I'm starting from my cell phone. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, yeah. So Krodh wala kya tha? What was it? That it says that when we are looking at objects of the senses, right? Then what happens? Kathy has to tell us what happens. This is Kathy's word.
It's fine.
Yes.
Attachment develop.
Yeah, attachment develops, right? From the eyes, the attachment will develop. Then what happens? The hankering happens. You want to enjoy, right? Whatever is that, you want to possess it. And when you're not able to possess, what happens? Anger comes, right? So first comes desire, and then comes the anger. If the desire is not fulfilled, then comes anger. That's why they say, पहले काम होता है, फिर क्रोध आता है. So क्रोध is the younger brother of calm. So there is a desire. When I read this, then I started looking back at life, my life, because I used to be very angry still. Sometimes I do. Then I realized that yes, every time that I was angry, there was always a desire before that, which was not fulfilled, and that's why you get the anger, right? Yeah. And so then when you get angry, then what happens?
Your mind, your intelligence is taken.
Yeah. Your capability to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong goes away, right? Yeah. And then when you don't know what is right and wrong, then anything good which was in your memory also goes down. And then you are in the spiral and you fall into this material world. Yeah. Yeah.
Desire also, Mataji, starts when we interact with the material.
So desire starts when we interact with this material world. Very interesting. Did you notice in today's verse that we read, it was saying that the soul cannot be cut by any weapon. It cannot be wet. It cannot be burnt. Right. Nanam chindanti. Yeah. Right. So Right. Did you notice why did it cannot be moistened? Why would Krishna talk about cannot be moistened? Soul cannot be moistened, as if moisture is our big problem. Yeah, it cannot be it cannot be cleaved, it cannot be cut, right? So so that there's a reason there, and later on in chapter 7 it gets revealed, right? So here he's saying that the soul cannot be cut by any weapons. Okay, tell me, what are weapons made of? Metal. Okay. Can weapons be made of fire?
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Okay. Can weapons be made of water? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have water. Yes. Correct, Jyoti Mataji. We don't see water weapons here, but water weapons are there, right? I mean, if two cats are fighting, what do? You take your hose and then you put some fire. It's a water weapon, right? Yeah. So, and then fire is there. And so he's talking about wind, and there are wind weapons also. We don't have wind weapons now, but the wind weapons is Trinavrata came, right? Yeah, like that. So wind weapons are also there. And we read a lot of that. Suddenly we are reading that some of the Manthan thing. So what he's trying to tell you is that the soul cannot be impacted by these things. And what are these things? These things are made up of Bhumi, Apu, Analo, Vayu, come like that, right? So these elements, the 5 elements which are there, it cannot be impacted. Why? Because it is different from that. It's different. Like if you take a knife, you take an apple, both of them are made of Bhumi, and there's little water in apple, right? So one can impact the other one, but the soul cannot be cut by any of these things, cannot be wet. Water cannot impact. You cannot use a water weapon, fire weapon, any of these weapons in the soul, right? And so why is he talking about weapons? The soul cannot be touched by any weapons. Why is Krishna giving that? Why did he use? Exactly right, because it's in the they are in the battlefield, and that's what Arjuna was constantly talking about, right? What else did we hear in chapter 2?
Before we move forward, Kavin came to me and asked me, "What is soul? Can we open the start?"
Very nice. What is soul? Very good questions. You get the first question of the day. First prize of the day. For the first, best question. Okay. So let's see, what do you all think? What is soul?
Krishna says some people don't understand.
Krishna says some people don't understand. Okay, you're trying to get away with that answering by saying that. Some people say that. Amazing. Yeah. So soul is difficult. Soul is difficult to understand. And so, what was your name, Beta?
Kavin.
Kavin, huh? Very nice. Kavi means beautiful. Kavi means very intelligent, and that's showing right here, right now. So first and foremost, we have to. Okay, let's do a game. Okay. Do you play Simon Says?
Yeah, I think with the India में होता था, यहाँ नहीं होता।
यहाँ नहीं होता? यहाँ भी होता है। Simon तो यहीं का होना चाहिए ना? Simon तो यहीं का होना चाहिए ना? European है? अच्छा, Simon European. Simple Simon. Okay. Okay. I'll tell the rules of the game. We'll quickly play that game, right? And yeah. Okay. So Simon Says, what I'm going to do, Kavin, is that I will say Simon Says, and I'm Simon. Okay. And then I will tell you to do something. And I will say, Simon Says, touch your ears. And then you touch your ear. Okay. Then everybody is playing this game. And then Simon says, touch your nose, right? And then if you don't touch your nose, then you're out from the game. Okay.
And when you don't say Simon,
No.
then you are not so
No. We'll keep it simple. Who advances? That is Simon version 2. Not before Prasadam. Okay. So Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, touch your ear. Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your forehead. Simon says, touch your lips. Simon says, touch your chest. Simon says, touch your heart area. Simon says, touch your shoulder. Simon says, touch your nails. Simon says, touch your back. Simon says, touch your knee. Simon says, touch your thigh. Simon says, touch your toe. Simon says, touch yourself. That is the soul.
Yes.
It's that's why in this word they were saying it is difficult to understand. And the beauty of this philosophy, of the Vedic philosophy, is that you are the soul and you're not this body. You are a soul who is living inside this body. Your soul that has been given this body. And that is the wrong conception and the wrong upbringing that some of the generations have had in India, where we say, Meri Atma. When you say my soul, you are basically saying, I'm this body and I have a soul. It's not like that. You are the soul and you have a body, right? And you're not able to touch it. Why? Because soul is not made of bhumi, apo, analo, vayu, not made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, not made of anything material. So to be able to come to that realization, and that is what you will see a lot of people use the term self-realization, Atma Gyan. Who am I? Who am I? So there's also a question that people ask, who am I? And then they stop. So when some of the philosophies will stop at who am I? And I understand that I'm a soul. I reach that level where I operate at the level that I am the soul, and then they stop there, right? This philosophy doesn't stop there. And if you remember in the beginning of this chapter, I had asked that this chapter is called Contents of Gita Summarized, but what else could be a name for this, right? And then we said Sankhya. And I said Sankhya means empirical, right? Empirical formula. And I had said that we were going to give you the empirical formula of this world. So what is this world made up of? So this world is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence. And we can talk more about that in my next visit. But then also placed in this world, just as, if you have a muffin and in the muffin you place some, what is that? Things that you put? Nuts, chocolate, what's chocolate chips? Yeah, chocolate chips, right? Yeah. So similarly, the souls are also put here in this material world like that. They don't belong to this material world. We don't belong to this material world. And so one of the elements of this material world, so the empirical formula for this whole material world will be earth, water, fire, air, ether. Just as I said, the empirical formula for water is hydrogen, oxygen, for salt is sodium, chlorine, like that. Similarly, for this material world, the empirical formula is everything in this material world is made up of these 8 elements only: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? What is false ego? False ego is that principle or that element that makes you think that you are this body. Now, why do you think we should have this false ego that makes me think I'm this body and now my knee is hurting, my back is hurting, and she said something bad to me and he doesn't love me like that? Why do you think why do you think Krishna created this false ego which makes me think I'm a soul? Beautiful. Some say that the soul is beautiful. Some say the soul is wonderful. Some say the soul is amazing. And people say the soul is full of light, all that kind of stuff, right? So why would Krishna create false ego? What do you think? Shyamlangi says, to enjoy this material world. If you did not think that you're this body, you will never be able to enjoy this material world. And there's a very interesting story that is in place where I think Krishna is talking to Indra, I think, or Narada Muni is talking to Indra. But the main thing is that I think Krishna, and they put Indra into this material world as a pig. Indra as a pig, and then I don't remember who put them. Was it Narada or was it Krishna? Narada's talking to him. Okay, good. So right. So then he stays here, and so within a fraction of a second, he's here on this material world as a pig, and then he has a Mrs. Pig, and then soon there are piglets that are born, and then he's lying. Indra, the king of heavens, is in a rotten ditch, surrounded by his beautiful family, and all of them are doing that they do like that, right? And then Indra says, who had put him, Narad Muni, says, hey, come back, it's 12 years. And Indra says, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm a family, I've got my beautiful kids, right? So it is this false ego that makes you think you're this body. And if Indra did not think that he was a pig, he would not have eaten whatever was available in the ditch, like that, right? So it's a false ego, because otherwise we are souls. we are souls from Golok Vrindavan or from the Vaikuntha planets. We have fallen over here for various reasons. And because of that, in order to enjoy this, because we wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna. So Krishna said, okay, I'll create a PlayStation for you. You can go and play. So this material world is this PlayStation. And in the beginning, he gives us the Vedas. Chapter 3 tells us about that. Says that in the beginning of the generation, he says for generations, also sends the Vedas and says, okay, follow this and come back. But we don't follow, or we followed it in the wrong way. Avidhi Purvakam, right? We do that. And then we are here in cycles after cycles, cycles after cycles of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. And millenniums go by, and millions of birth and death we go through. And we are still here. Why? Because of the false ego, right? So that is something that we have to attack there. But good question. I hope I answered some, but it'll be a pursuit for you. And one of the things to reach that stage is to continue with devotional service, because anything else is not going to get you that, right? It's only devotional service. And why? Because devotional service is also transcendental activity. Transcendental means something which is not material, right? For example, taking a knife and chopping apples is a material activity. And in order to do activity which is not material, which we call as transcendental, in order to do a transcendental activity, you will also need a transcendental chaku. Right? To cut a transcendental apple, you need transcendental instruments, right? So you always have to use suitable instruments to do your activities, right? For example, if you take a tong and you say, I want to roll a chapati, can you do that? You can't, right? Similarly, there are limits also to instruments. For example, can you take a clinical thermometer with which you measure your temperature, and can you use that to measure the temperature of the oven? Right? You can imagine what's going to happen if you put it there, right? So similarly, with the senses that we have, these senses are not suitable to be able to see Krishna or to be able to see anything which is transcendental. So they have to be transformed. And that transformation happens by engaging in devotional service. And the topmost item of devotional service in this yuga is to chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanande, Hari, Hari Bol. Thank you so much. It's 8 o'clock, I think. Over to you, Devi. Okay.
Now we'll have Narsimha Aarti. Narsimha Aarti. Arma.
I also, while we're waiting for Arna and the kids, I also wanted to acknowledge Devi Kumari Mataji, who it's 2 years now, seems like. Yeah, 2 years ago, she invited me to her home to give a lecture. And then whoever friends came to that, of her friends came to that, she had been very actively following up, pursuing them to come and be regular in attending Krishna Katha. 3 of them actually already took shelter and are planning to take initiation. And I think 2 of them will also get initiated in somewhere in October this year. So it's amazing. It's amazing. And these sanghas are lifesavers when we come here together as devotees and we do that. So, and she's encouraging, she has been teaching kids to sing. She's been, encouraging them to play, and, she spends a lot of time, like when a class like this happens, like 2-hour class, she would have spent at least like 2 weeks trying to organize that class. So thank you. Let's give a round of applause to very much. You want this mic? I'm done. Thank you.
Whenever I think of Mataji, and it started with my Guru Maharaj, that Vyavasaya Atmika Buddhi Ekam Kurunatana, Bhamshakari in a sense, Buddhi Vyavasaya, that no matter how they are feeling, whatever the problems are, they are tired, but their service is always, they are like one focus. And then I feel that if that is there, then everything becomes